Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Call Me Not Call Me, and welcome back to Call Me Not Call Me World. Your number one stop for sports, apparently. So today I have a very special guest, my very, very good friend, Lamar. We are I have known him for several years, for couple years now, at least. I think a couple years. I feel like it. At least I feel like it. But but we are also in a fantasy league together, and today we're going to be basically talking about fantasy football and just basically our ideas and thoughts about football. But a guided conversation. So, how you doing today, Lamar?
I'm doing excellent. I want to thank you for having me. This is a tremendous right here.
Oh man, listen, man, very tremendous. Our conversations be off be golden conversations sometimes. In the past, and um, I always love to have live guests on my show. It's something that I really appreciate, interviewing people and also just basically having live guests because the vibes. You know what I'm saying? The vibes is always on fleek. It's always on fleek. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right. So you want to tell a little bit about yourself, Lamar?
Okay, so
What people?
I came out the womb in '92. I traveled from coast to coast, from Cali to here, and yeah, this has been my stop ever since. This is basically home now. So home is wherever you make it.
Right, exactly. And just for I guess we live near each other, and people know that I live in Atlanta, so or I live in the area of the greater Atlanta area, basically. So, this is basically his home also. That's what, just letting you know that people know that I live in Atlanta. And since we kind of, anyway, so basically, he and I have plenty of conversations about sports, basketball, football, just lots of different things, different topics, of course, all the time. So I was just like, yo, I would love to have you on and just talk about fantasy football for a little bit, or just talk about football, because definitely sports is something I'm trying to bring into my channel. And I would love to have someone to talk about it with. So thank you very much, Lamar, for being on my show, man. I really appreciate it. And you're doing me a real good solid, man. I really appreciate that.
This is like second language to us.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sports, it really is.
It is, son. It is. Yo. I mean, hey. All right. So let me go ahead and just get into it real quick. You know what I'm saying? We trying to make sure that we stay on the clock. So let's go. So basically, first topic is being a football fan. Um, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go first. Just tell me, if you like how young you were, maybe if you were young when you became a football fan, and maybe just different things that you basically, how you feel about being a football fan. When I say that to you,
So basically, growing up in California, when I was young, it was all cartoons. It was that. But I feel like certain things in life, like sports, it finds you. There's something that tethers you to it, to where you can relate to it, and you can find similarities in life that you can pick out. And within that 60-minute struggle on that football field, on that
mm-hmm.
gridiron.
Right,
So to be honest, I became a Seattle Seahawks fan. It was Oakland Raiders and Seattle Seahawks.
right,
And I
right.
tell you, my favorite player had to be Sean Alexander. I don't know if you remember Sean
Mm.
Alexander. That was
He
my
was
guy.
running
He
back,
was
son.
tough.
He was
He
tough.
was
He was
tough.
tough,
He was
man. That
tough.
was one of
Yeah.
the earliest Seahawks that I actually like remembered his name. That and Hasselback. Is his name Hasselback?
But that was my
Yeah,
quarterback.
yeah.
That's my quarterback. That's my
That's
quarterback.
that's my quarterback.
Yeah,
That's my quarterback.
seriously.
Yeah. Um, and so it's quite. I always tell Lamar when we're talking about sports, I was just like that basketball is a reality show, and football to me and the NFL is a soap opera. And it's funny because I can remember times in my life in relation to football, like what was going on in college football when I went away to college. You know what I mean? That's when I got into college football. And like when I moved to New York or when I was living in Pennsylvania, it's like different times. Like I would remember parts of like, oh, that happened to all my children. And then oh no, that happened and then that happened. It's just like life basically, it becomes a part of your life as far as like, just just people that you knew who played and stuff like that and how you related to life. Yeah, man.
It's like you get all these works of life coming together for one common goal. And
Right.
if you want to take it a step further, a little deeper, think about how the game is played. Like say like a penalty, a false start or whatever. You get like a 10-yard, you get to lose 10 yards. It's like setbacks in life. And how do you overcome that setback in life? You
Flag on the
try to
play.
flag on the play and you only got a certain amount of downs to be, just to move that ball forward.
We get a certain amount of chances to move that ball forward. So it's like life, yo. It teaches you a
It
lot.
is.
Yeah.
Not to quote any given some Sunday, but it is a game of inches.
Yes,
It's a
it
game of
is.
inches.
It's a game of inches, basically. And,
Life too.
and life. And it's just like on any given Sunday, you could win or you could lose. But it's how you play the game. That's basically, so basketball football that it's interesting because it's a sport that's kind of conflicting because on one side it's violent and you can see some people basically go on to have full happy lives and absolutely still walk up upright, you know what I mean, and have all their faculties together and they can still basically go out and have a second chapter, third chapter in life afterwards. But then, you see the people who basically kind of barely can walk, you know what I mean, and all the other abuses that basically come with the game, and medical conditions that basically have come out of it. But at the same time, it's for some reason, it's just something about it that these guys basically signed up to play, you know, and it's a game, not only a game that they get paid a lot to play, but a game that they love to play because it's the only way you're basically going to sign yourself up to get knocked around and stand in the pocket just basically for a little bit of glory. But that glory is so sweet. And you'll have a whole nation behind you. Just basically, it's gladiators. You know what I'm saying? It's an amazing thing, man. Excuse me. Yeah. But anyway, so moving right along. So you're from originally from California. You had basically Seahawks and Oakland were your favorite teams basically. Just trying to keep up with you basically. Not keep up. Just basically kind of my side of the story would be I'm originally from Brooklyn, and I wasn't really a big football fan until I moved to Pennsylvania. I mean, I would always hear, oh, the Giants went to the Super Bowl, or the Bills went to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row and lost every single time. And that was mind-boggling to me at the time. That was crazy. But I was always basically hear about the Giants also, getting 8 times and going to the Super Bowl and stuff like that, and had won a couple, you know what I mean? And so, but when I really went to Pennsylvania is when I kind of I used to see football, and I actually got to go to when I with a smaller school, quote unquote smaller school. They actually had, I mean, I don't know, in the city they have football teams for the high schools, but I didn't go to that kind of high school. My high school was a predominantly girl high school, so basically, there was no football team. So I didn't really get to experience that till I moved to Pennsylvania during sophomore year, and then they would have football games every single Friday night lights and all that good stuff, and the whole town come out for it. Pennsylvania, Georgia, Texas, Florida, football's big. That's all, and it's all they got to do in those rural countries. That's all they got to live for.
Thank God, for real, man. If they had FanDuel for them high school players, they would do it. They would do it.
You know what I'm saying? Plain and simple. Yo, so that's so. At first, I was living on Northeast Pennsylvania, so I wasn't a fan, but we followed the Eagles. And then when I went out to Penn State, I was a Penn State fan. I was very glad to go to a school that actually had a reputable football team, and that was Steeler country. So I was like, not repping Steelers or the Eagles, but I was there, and if they did well, and during that time they did well, Donovan McNabb was balling out of control and doing the whole Bills thing, getting them close, but never no cigar until Terrell Owens came through and blessed him, but then basically he decided to be okay, I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna get into that. TO's my peoples. TO's my peoples. I don't know. I have an affinity towards wide receivers. I don't know why, son. I'm wearing the Odell jersey, but right now Jalen Hyatt then took it. How you feel about that, son? You think that they should have let Jalen Hyatt take Odell's jersey number?
Personally, I feel like it's still a little too soon.
It's too soon. It's too
He's still in
soon.
the league. I mean, he's still in the league, and he brought a lot of. It was like as big
That,
as Linsanity when he was there.
that was an iconic. That was an iconic time in New York football, New York
Back
Giants
too.
football. You know what I'm saying?
The back that catch solidified it. Hyatt hasn't done anything to really
Bro,
merit.
you better come with it, bro. You better come with it. I got you on my team, son. I got you on my fantasy league team.
We already see the players' faces too, so the jersey number is a pretty big deal.
You know what I'm saying?
You're associated with greatness when you wear that number.
But they do that though in college. Funny enough, like last night I was watching, the night before last, I was watching. No, last night I was watching the Penn State game, and several people on like one person on offense and one person on defense will have the same number. And I found that so weird. Like two people were wearing 44, two people were wearing 11. Please, somebody let me know. Drop a message in the comments if I'm bugging or not, basically, or is that something that they do? I never really saw that earlier in my watching.
They're more lenient on the jersey numbers. I
I
think they're
guess
more
so.
lenient. I mean,
It's kind of whack to me. I wouldn't do that. I would need my own number.
odd though,
I
seeing
mean,
that on both sides of the ball.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is weird. This is weird. It caught me off guard. I was just like, hold up, that dude just go ahead.
By the way, shout out Dion. Shout out Prime.
Bro,
Yeah.
son, yo, for real, yo. Shout out to Deion Sanders and his Colorado Bison. I guess that's what they call. Are they the Buffalo? But they beat TCU, but like what was that, 44-42 in a shootout? His son had that's 17th ranked TCU, by the way. After having a 1-win season last year, Deion Sanders basically cleaned house and wreck shop, came through and wreck shop. So his son had 512 passing yards. What's that about, son? That is madness. I don't even think I've ever. I want to. They said it's a school record. I want to know who has the record because how much higher than 512 is the record?
You got to go for real. How high do you have to go?
I'm gonna have to
he
look
did
that
that.
up.
He wanted it more. He really wanted it more. I was surprised.
They gonna shock the world.
I was the first one to be surprised.
I was impressed. I was impressed. I didn't. Don't get me wrong. I didn't feel like they were going to basically be like a bottom barrel team this year at all. I felt that they were actually going to probably ball a little bit. But against the ranked teams, I didn't exactly expect for them to just go out like that. But sometimes it's mind over matter, man. And you need the personnel. He definitely needs the personnel. They need to work on the O line and the D line because they gave up a lot of rushing yards. But at the same time, and then they gave up like what was it? 3-4 sacks or something like that, which is crazy. But I mean, hey, it's first game. You got to tighten up as you go along. You tighten up a little bit more and more. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Just moving along. So shout out to Deion. Shout out to all those players who basically got a W yesterday. Good looking out for y'all. So anyway, can you name a couple of your favorite players over the years?
My favorite players over the years. Oh man, you got Michael Vick. You got the Bus. You got Jerome Bettis. That was my guy. Just running over people
all day. I was like,
day.
You can't stop that train. It's coming. You know it's coming.
If Zion was a running back, I think that'd be him for real.
Real talk.
You got AP. I think I was more like how you said, like I think you say wide receivers was your go-to. I think running backs was my go-to because you got
I'm not mad at
AC,
it though. No.
you got Michael Turner too. That was my
Oh,
guy.
Michael Turner, son. I'm talking about like stay. Saquon think that his thighs are thick, yo. Those are some big legs. Those are some big legs, and he was made for running. I don't know what happened to him. They squandered them 2 seasons because he was eating everything.
But yeah, as a Falcons fan, this is it's a toxic relationship, but it's deep love. It's still deep love.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. But it's all good, plain simple. Me personally, of course, Odell. Even though he didn't have, even though he's plagued by injuries, he is a unparalleled talent. You know what I'm saying? He's up there. He's definitely up there. I think that if he didn't get hurt so frequently, his numbers would be he would be in the ranks somewhere when he hung it up. He'd be far along. I think so personally. Um, say what?
Wide receiver, you think, in your opinion? Because I feel like if Odell hadn't been plagued with injuries, he'd be right there with Chase and Jeffries. He'd be the first one like out of LSU to really just ball
I'm
out like that.
I'll give them that. I'll definitely give LSU. They've turned out a lot of receivers, a lot of really really talented receivers lately. Plain and simple. I know Ohio State usually gets some good guys. Oh, Alabama definitely put out some dudes back in the day, Julio and them back in the day.
Smith,
Didn't
Jerry
Calvin didn't
Judy,
Calvin didn't Calvin Ridley go come out of there too?
really Devontae Smith, Jerry Judy. Yeah,
Crazy. Anyway, but To's one of my favorite of all time. I don't think that they gave my man his respect. I lean towards that athlete that is highly talented and very misunderstood. Kind of like my Kobe. Kobe's my is my other favorite athlete all time, or actually my favorite period athlete of all time. But they were misunderstood, and at least we got to understand Kobe later in his career. You know what I'm saying? But just incredibly driven, and at least finally To got into the Hall of Fame as though he should, because my man is like number 2 in several stats. You can't hold that kind of person out of the Hall of Fame. That's crazy. I think they did. It was very
right.
disrespectful. They were very disrespectful by leaving them out.
Yeah, that was petty, out of spite too. I have
Out
a
of spite.
question. Quick question.
Yeah.
Who, in your opinion, who would be the AI of football? In my opinion, it would have to be Michael Vick.
Um.
Rules,
Yeah, I'm gonna
the
say Michael
play
Vick.
style.
As far as play style and impact, ever since I mean, don't get me wrong, there were running quarterbacks before, but with that type of speed and an absolute shotgun for our arm, that ball's coming out quick. It's zipping. It's tight spirals down the field. Or he decided to just basically take you for 50 yards. You know what I'm saying? Left-handed. He was a lefty, right?
Spin move. Yeah, he was a lefty and just spin on you.
And he
Like
still had it after jail. He came out of jail and went to what was he at? Where was he at? The Eagles? And still balled. That's another dude they did dirty. But anyway, I ain't gonna get into that. I ain't gonna get into it.
Netflix documentary on him though.
He might as well go ahead and get paid while he doing these commentator gigs. Go ahead and get paid with that. We'll talk about ESPN a whole nother day because I got so pissed off. I didn't get to see Shannon Sharp this morning, man. I had to watch YouTube for updates because they decided Spectrum and Disney decided not to renew their contract or some foolishness, and Spectrum's trying to talk to us, trying to get like we're the children and trying to get us on their side. Like, call Disney and tell them that you're unsatisfied. I'm just like, I don't care nothing about this. I'm not being able to watch Shannon Sharp. Damn it. Son. Yo, all right. So okay, so let's go on and start talking about some fantasy football, yo. How long have you been playing fantasy football?
I've been playing fantasy football just in general for about, I'd say 5 years.
5
Yeah,
years.
about 5 years.
Cool. What's been your experience playing? Like, do you like it? Is it, are you competitive?
I'll say this. It's competitive when everybody's engaged. It's fun when everybody's engaged. It does. It's like this is our equivalent to like Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's imaginary, but it only works if everybody's submerged into the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's fantasy football. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it.
It's funny that you just said that because I'm just like all there until I just thought to myself, like, damn, you know what? I'm one of those obsessive people. Because last night I had a draft with my family and they were just like, I was there. I'm just like, okay, I'm ready. I got my spreadsheet over here. I got my thing right here. I'm ready. I already went to the restroom, so I don't got to go during the draft. And I got my drink already. And I'm locked in, completely locked in. And my sister's just like, Felicia, stop. Sorry. She's like, stop. You're making me nervous. And I'm just like, my bad, yo. I'm just ready for this. I've been ready for this all day. This is my last draft that I gotta do. Actually, I'm trying to get into another draft, hopefully soon. Go out and send me an email, callme@gmail.com if you want to join a fantasy football league that I want to open. So I know it's short notice, but go ahead and do it. It'll be me and it'll be Lamar and hopefully some other people, and we can have some fun. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. It could basically be a small league, but hey, I think it'll be fun. Just to think of it, even if it's small, could get anybody as our free agents. What is that like? What is a 4-man draft? I mean, what is a 4-man league like, son? I don't even know if they even allow for. I think they might do. They might allow 4-man leagues. That's crazy. That'd be crazy.
It'll be a gauntlet for real.
That's crazy. You can have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Justin Jacobs, every single top person, Cooper Cup, all in one team. Jeez, that's crazy. Anyway,
That would be all you need.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope for real though. But anyway, hit me up if you basically want to join a fantasy football league with us. So yeah, I'm a little bit more. I'm laid back about it. But my preparation to get to the draft is basically where I'm real tense. You know what I mean? But I'm competitive, so some people could say that I'm obsessive over it. I make spreadsheets because I try to basically just have and make a plan. That to me, I feel is what you're supposed to do. Don't be mad at me that I'm listening to podcasts.
You fail to plan, you plan to fail.
There it is. There it is. Plain and simple. You got to do. My niece, she said while we were there in the doing the draft, 10 minutes before, when I sent text messages, I'm the commissioner. I've sent text messages, let them all know, okay, like day by day, during their hour by hour updates to make sure they all are knowing that, because there's nothing worse than having a draft with 12 people as it was, and more than half is auto draft. That would be a miserable night, son. That would be a miserable night, plain and simple. So I'm just letting everybody know. And then my niece is just like, oh, she's like, the draft is tonight? Oh, hold on. I got to watch TikTok to find out who I need to draft. I was just like, what the what? So they don't even get the information on YouTube no more. You just go to TikTok because they need it in 20-second increments. Like, just hit me with the facts. Just hit me with the facts.
You ever get to a certain age where you feel like, dang, this world belongs to the younger generation. This ain't my world no more. Like
It sure do. It
I'm
sure
not
do.
running nothing no more. Like
Nah,
we
son.
ain't running nothing no more.
No, we not. We not. The youth sets the expectations of the future, plain and simple. I feel like it, we are. It's we're the old crotchety men who are just like, what do you need a car for? We have a perfectly good horse. You know what I mean? Why are you trying to go fast? Why are you trying to go fast? You know what I mean? And that's just the world. The world gets faster. And I mean, even though it scares the hell out of me, but AI and quantum computers are around the corner, and the world can't stop moving. It got to keep spinning. how do we expect to basically be able? Hopefully, we're not. No, hopefully, no one's going to crash the car. That's all. That's all. That's all you got to hope. Hopefully, no one's going to crash the car.
Speaking of her doing her review on TikTok, as far as like looking for the picks or whatever, what was your draft strategy coming into the draft?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. That's one of my points. Okay, so my draft strategy basically was a I definitely I what I do in the beginning is I listen to podcasts, honestly. People talking about fantasy who usually play fantasy and they could tell you about trends. And one of the trends that they people were talking about basically every single year is a trend because of what are the availabilities are of number one players. And it like usually people go for running backs because of the fact that there are not as many top running backs who completely own the starting job at their job at their team. They're sharing the backfield with somebody. So you obviously try to focus on those people. But at the same time, right now, we have such an influx of highly talented wide receivers in this league, and it's the fact that our league and pretty much many leagues that people play in are PPR leagues, points per reception. You know what I'm saying? So what you want to focus on is getting players to maximize your points of your ability to get points. You want to basically focus on people who could catch the ball and who get a good amount of targets every single game. You know what I mean? So those obviously are wide receivers and tight ends or running backs that catch the ball. Hence why Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler were high on the list. But people like Justin Jefferson and Chase, who basically average at least 13 receptions, saying 13 receptions a game at the very least, which includes 100 to 150 yards a game, 1 to 3 touchdowns a game. Chase did that, all through last year. And that's a lot of points that rack up. And points per reception is about like you could do one, but in my leagues, the ones that I at least manage, points per reception is 1.5 points. So that's 1.5 points at least. So you coming out at least, I couldn't even do the math right now. Basically, it's late, but you get 1.5 points for each of those 13 receptions. Plus, you basically get a point per yard run. No, a point per 10 yards that you got for receptions, touchdown points. It's just like their value is like exponential, at the top of the list. And Justin Jefferson, that's why Justin Jefferson went number one overall. Oh man. Okay. We're gonna keep this going. Sorry, I got the clock here. All right. So that was my plan, my
Strategy.
plan.
Okay.
That was my strategy. That was my strategy. And so I wanted to go in, and don't get me wrong, you can have your strategy, but at the same time, you kind of gotta change it up because you never know what might fall to you. Obviously, those top two dudes went number one and number two, unless somebody basically went into a coma. And then usually Austin Eckler and Christian McCaffrey, depending on where you draft, would be the next two guys up. But it just so happen where you are drafting, if a top running back is there, and if you feel like it, you could drop down a little bit lower and get another wide receiver who basically should still be good, should still be excellent. But at the same time, you got to be John Robinson. You got, other running backs, Saquon, you know what I'm saying? And they are running backs that catch. So,
That's one thing I like about the fantasy draft though, because you can apply different schools of thought to your draft
exactly.
strategy.
Exactly.
And especially depends on where you're picking and depending on who's being picked, just to just to just I guess just to highlight what you said about, when people have the draft uh board is full of auto drafters. Yeah, it kind of flummoxes the whole like draft strategy because you want to see, and part of it is, part of testing people's knowledge of different players as well, and how you can play off of each other in the draft. It's kind of like
Uh-huh.
a dance as well. So say like, all right, Jamar Chase, not Jamar Chase, Jefferson went number one. Okay, what are you gonna dance? How can you dance and pivot and move for that second pick? Okay, let's say Christian McCaffrey went number two, and you
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of different picks. I chose five, and I felt like the best available wide receiver that's gonna give me the, I guess, top end value before there's gonna be like a major drop off. It's like as far as gap in points.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill. I felt like he was the last wide receiver that can give me a minimum of 25 fantasy points. And then I feel like there's like 13 other guys that can give me around that 2018 range of fantasy points. So I felt like let me get the best one available for week to week output, and then
Uh-huh.
let me pivot there. So that I feel like that's basically what my strategy was. Then I went
Right.
to running backs. There's a lot of running backs that can give you at minimum 25 value. I feel like, hey, fill up those spots, fill up those flex spots, fill up those running back spots with those
Mm-hmm.
at minimum per week. And then I'll double back to the 18, the 15,
Point
fantasy
dudes.
point wide receivers. Yeah, there's gonna
Exactly.
be a dime a dozen. There's gonna be a dime a dozen.
Everybody's exactly. Sooner or later, you're gonna get to them. I mean, the league is not full of Jameer Chases. Sooner or later, you have, especially in our league, we got 3 wide receiver spots that you got to fill up to. So everybody's not gonna be a top level dude. But starting off with Tyreek Hill is a great solid base. You're gonna know that dude is basically going out to try to get as many yards as possible. My man said that he's going for 2,000 this year. I'm not sure if he's going to make it, but at the same time, if anybody could do it right now, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, basically. If it, trust me, I got his quarterback, so I'm rooting for him. So, so I hope that's awesome. That's awesome. What's the name? And then basically you come back and get you got the running back. Which one? What was the running back again? You said your second choice. You said your second pick was a running back, right?
Oh yeah, my Josh Jacobs. Josh
And then
Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs. And he's angry. He's gonna run angry all year, and he catches the ball, plain and simple. So absolutely, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Some people basically decided to draft 2 wide receivers back to back. I mean, I'm not mad at it if you basically feel, but I wanted to get me a solid running back. I don't think that I don't think that any of my drafts I went wide receiver, wide receiver. I think I went at least I was just like, I don't want to fall and get a lesser running back than this person. And this year, my lesser person, I tried my best to at least get a running back before Aaron Jones, and I ended up basically getting Aaron Jones, and that's just basically this is where he's going in the draft. I'm right around that turn, come back around basically. So, but let me see who did I and oh, wrong, what's the name? I'm just like, hold on, who was it that I drafted in our league? He and I are in a league together that I run for our job, and it is a very fun league. We are very competitive. We get it in, we talk trash. I love it. I love it. Absolutely, man. Yeah, right. So I picked eighth in our league, right? So basically all those top dudes basically went off by then. So the dude that was available, the best dude that I saw that was available, and even though some people might consider it a gamble, I took B. John Robinson because you know what? I'm not afraid to take a rookie, even though I'd rather take a rookie later on because in case of sleeper leagues, we basically get to keep people. But I took a chance on B John basically, and hopefully it's gonna pay off for me. He catches the ball. He looked really good during that preseason game, and then I was able to come back around and get CB Lamb. I was trying to remember his first name. I just have the initial and the last name, CB Lamb, basically. I usually don't like Dallas people, but I needed a wide receiver, and I feel like he's pretty what's the name? And then I went back and got another wide receiver. I got Olave, so I kind of was able to get that solid running back, and then basically get 2 wide receivers to try to bolster up that wide receiver core. But then I went back to running back because I feel honestly my comfort zone is playing a running back in my flex every single year, every single week. How about you?
I think so too. Just because you you pretty much know what you're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
with the running back.
Exactly. You know exactly the kind of thing you're going to get from a quarterback. You know, even though sometimes it's just like it could be a hard day, especially if they're going up against like a Buffalo or something like that, basically. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes some wide receivers can just have games where it's like 5 straight games of like this, and then next thing you know, one day they just go cold, or someone decides to just basically use him as a decoy and go to the other dude. You know what I mean? It just happens like that sometimes.
With wide receivers, you got different targets you can go to. With running back, you're the main guy. You're getting the ball.
Right,
So
exactly. Exactly. And that's basically what I try to do. That is my main goal, my main strategy in fantasy football. Get at least the number one or number two. If I have to get a number three on a team, a third string, I pick him up as late as possible, because basically he's a flyer. It might, like Tank Bigsby. He's somebody I'm looking at, picking up off of free agency if I see him out there, basically, because I feel like he could be worth something. Anybody you have your eye on, maybe picking up later?
yes, the guy I want. I'm looking at Cooper Cup. I'm trying to see
Trade for
if
him,
I can try to trade for him. Right now, he's not looking so good in the rankings, but
right?
so I feel like if I can try to get him at a discount while his health is in question,
Hmm.
it'd be a great look.
Oh, we'll talk about it. We'll see. I'm gonna see how you're gonna make that magic happen. But anyway, all right. So thank you so much, Lamar, for being on my show. I'm gonna wrap it up right there. There's much more to come. Fantasy football. Football starts on Thursday, so I look forward to it and look forward to more conversations with you. Okay, Lamar.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I love our conversations, and I can't wait to have another one with you, man. That's Call Me Not Call
My
Me
pleasure.
World. No problem, man. Call Me Not Call Me World. I'm Call Me Not Call Me, and I appreciate you guys. Peace, love, soul. Barry Sanders. Yo. All right, yo. Have a good one.